Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. We are back in the kitchen today making Southwest Skillet Queso. I love this dish because it checks all the boxes on my bedrock principles of cooking. It is easy, it is diverse, it is a crowd pleaser. You can serve this as a meal over an avocado half or a baked potato, or you could even serve it on its own as a dip for pork rinds, chips. The list goes on. It is an absolute staple in our household, and I know that it will become an absolute staple in your household as well. So without further ado, go wash your hands and let's get started making Southwest Skillet Queso. So let's meet our cast of characters in today's ensemble. We are starting off with 1 pound of ground beef, chuck, lean, doesn't matter. Whatever you have on hand, it's gonna go fine. 1 pound of ground beef. We have 8 ounces or half a pound of beef chorizo. If you never had chorizo, congratulations, you just met your new Mexican best friend. It is amazing. But if for some reason you do not like chorizo, I won't hold it against you. It has to have a very distinctive taste, but just trust me, it blends so well in this dish that you're gonna be amazed. If you don't want it to be quite as beefy, you could go with the traditional pork chorizo instead, or even soy if you don't love yourself or your family members. We have 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. I've diced it into cubes. You don't have to do this, but I like for you to think that I'm somewhat fancy, and it also helps it melt faster when we get to that stage. I've got half a diced onion and half a diced green bell pepper. We're gonna put those in with the meat, and I'll explain that in a minute. We have 12 ounces of shredded cheese. Now, you keto angels out there know you should be shredding your own cheese. That's because the potato starches that they add to the pre-shredded stuff to keep it from getting into one big block in the bag as it sits on the shelf are not keto compliant. But if you're dirty keto, or you're not even worried about carbs, or you're on vacation, or you've had a bad day and the last thing you feel like doing is shredding cheese, totally fine, buy the bag stuff, all good. 12 ounces, 3 cups is what we're looking for. We've got 15-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, a 4-ounce can of the diced green chilies, and then we've got our spice pack, which I've already mixed together. But basically this consists of 1 teaspoon garlic powder, half a teaspoon salt, 2 teaspoons chili powder, and 1 teaspoon cumin. And that's it. That's all the ingredients that are gonna go into this queso dip. It will take no time at all to make. Probably start to finish, we're looking at 30 minutes. But the first step will be to brown our meat. So I'm gonna switch over to the cooktop and we're gonna do that first. Okay, step 1, we need heat. I have this Saddle electric cooktop. If you have gas, screw you, but I'm happy for you. We're gonna go with medium. For me, that means a 5. For you, that means actual medium. So there's 5, all right? Let this heat up through the power and magic of video. I've already kind of preheated this a little bit, cheating. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with our meats first. We're gonna put in the ground beef, and we are going to put into this way so you can see better. Put in our new best friend, chorizo. And we wanna mix these up into one mixture. Makes sense, right? Mix into one mixture. So we're gonna let this go. Now you'll notice that your chorizo is a tad greasy. It's okay. We're not looking for low fat in this. Low fat is another channel. We are high fat, medium high fat, whatever. Because we're keto, we're low carb. And this dish does still fit into that criteria. However, this is definitely going to be something that will be enjoyed by everyone, not just your low carb family and friends. Now, I mentioned earlier about the onions and the bell pepper. So we tend to like a little bit of a crunch with the vegetables, right, in this, at our household. You might not. I, therefore, will usually cook the raw bell pepper and onion with my meat, so that it doesn't overcook. But if you really want it mushy or that type of texture to where it's not as much of a little bit of a crunch, then you could saute that ahead of time with some extra virgin olive oil, some butter. Just put in your half onion and your half bell pepper and let that go for, about 10 minutes or so till it gets real soft. And then you can add that in later. So if you go that route, you would add that in after the meat. Okay? So just gonna get this good mixed up, let it get cooking, and then I will come back magically once this is browned and we'll move on to the next steps. So I know I said I would come back once it was browned, and we're not quite there yet, but I just have to tell you guys, chorizo is so good. Like, it smells so good when I'm cooking it right now. And I always forget because we don't make a lot of stuff with it. We'll have some breakfast items sometimes, make some little quesadillas with it. But man, the smell alone, and it just tastes so good. Let me know what you think though. I mean, maybe I'm kind of alone on that. I came to chorizo later in life. I'd never really had it before I moved to Texas. I know you can get it everywhere in any of the grocery stores. But man, it is really, 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 really good. It just adds such a great flavor, and really enhances it. So you'll see now that things are getting a little brown. It's exactly what we want. Obviously, we're going to drain off some of this fat. Being keto, we definitely do like the fat, but not this much fat. That's a lot. This is like crazy fat, like Weight Watchers nightmare fat. So let this go a little bit longer. I'm going to drain the fat probably off camera because it's very awkward, and God knows you don't want to see me do that because the minute I try to, it's just going to go everywhere. So I'm going to do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so I know I said I was going to do this off camera, but I was like, that's weak. That's not strong. That's not being a strong cook. And what if there's people who, don't know how to drain fat or something? I'm not saying this is like an advanced channel or anything, so I'll show you the way I do it. And God help me if this messes up. I'll leave it in, but still, you'll know that we're all just actors without a script, so to speak. All right, so I need to drain off a lot of this fat. I save pieces of foil that I haven't used. I know, like a crazy old woman. I save pieces of foil specifically for this reason. When I don't have a can or something to catch drippings in, sometimes I keep the drippings, sometimes I don't. Today I'm stocked up, I don't need this. So what I'm gonna do is I take a lid, and this is the easiest way I found anyway, and I'm not gonna be awkward as hell, but you're welcome. So then I do just like this into that piece of foil, and I just let that drain like so. So far, so good. Now, I don't need to get all of it off today because I'm actually going to use some of this for flavoring in the queso dip. So that ought to be good. And then, praise baby Jesus. No huge catastrophes. So step number 2. Step 1 was easy, right? We browned the beef. We browned the chorizo. We put in our bell pepper and onion. Again, if you want to have a little bit of the crunch so it's not so overcooked. If not, totally understand. Just go ahead and saute that ahead of time. And if you did that, then this would be the point at which you'd want to mix your vegetables in with your beef mixture. Okay? So next step, I returned the heat back on to 5, but if you didn't, just leave it on medium. And I'm going to take my crushed tomato, pour that in. I'm going to take my diced chilies and add those little fellas. Do a quick mix before it starts to pop and send grease and tomato everywhere. All over my fine Target shirt. And you'll see this is going well. All right, then I'm going to take my spice mixture, which again is my garlic powder, my chili powder, salt, and cumin. And we're going to put that in like so. And then next, the most major player of all, well, not quite, sorry. We're not to the Whitney Houston roll yet. We have the cheese first, the cream cheese, not the real cheese, not the big cheese. And again, you'll notice, as we said earlier, that cutting this up into cubes not only makes you look like an arrogant chef, but it also serves a purpose, and that it melts faster into your pre-queso mixture. And see, now I know you were worried. You saw this meat and tomato, and you're like, this does not look like the queso mixture I am familiar with. And you'll see now the color is starting to get that queso look. And again, this is more of a Southwest skillet queso, as we said earlier. It's gonna be like what you would get at Chili's, which Mark would kill me for saying that because he hates Chili's, but it really reminds me of their skillet queso as well. So this is getting good and melted here, but it has that kind of flavor to it, you know, that kind of smoky, very distinctive, cheese and rotel. This is gonna take your queso up to the next level. So this is looking good. This is giving more of that kind of goldeny color to it when we mixed in our cream cheese, but we're gonna really make that happen with the yellow cheese. Now I today am using a Colby Monterey Jack mixture. That is kind of my go-to because the Jack cheese helps it melt really easy. But you could use cheddar, you could use a sharp cheddar or medium cheddar, whatever your interest is. That's another thing too about this queso, and one of the reasons I like this dish. Like a lot of the things that I try to show you guys, it's very customizable. If you're not a huge cheese fan, cut back. And if you really like cheese, add a little more. You're not gonna hurt anything. Now, at this point, it's starting to bubble, which is what you want. So I'm gonna turn my heat down to low. You wanna let this marinate for about 20 minutes. You could eat it right now. But for every minute you give it up to 20, you get one step closer to heaven. So if you want to eat it at 15 minutes, that's your business. I'm not going to judge you, but I'm just saying, give it the full 20 and you'll be golden. Okay, we're at the 20-minute mark. So let's see how it turned out. A little bit of a sample here. This is more of how the queso should look. Keep in mind that as it cools, it'll get a little more solid and have that more, kind of queso look and feel. But let's test the temperature first. Nobody likes a burned mouth. Let's see. Tastes heavenly. Worth the 20 minutes, in my opinion. So yeah, like I said, great as a dip. Pork rinds, chips, if it's a mixed group, can't go wrong. Also great on avocados, inside a bell pepper, potatoes. If you're gonna do like a more moderate carb count, do a baked potato, serve this on top, some sour cream, some green onion. Can't go wrong. If you like this video, I certainly would appreciate a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. And until next time, you guys be safe.